All right. So new installment of the Creekland podcast, probably the last one for a while, unless something else happens. But we're just gonna go through the album, kind of make a few comments about a few songs, and just let you guys hear our thoughts on our own work. So let me share this, and we're just gonna go right in.
Just dive in. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. See. Credence. Cream. Ooh, Creed. With arms wide open. Under the sunlight. No, maybe later. Creekland. Popping on.
this.
I don't know why I added right there at the end. That was not in there. But yeah, I mean, the production on the chorus, I think is probably my favorite part. And like listening to it on my computer speakers, I can hear like the acoustic guitars a lot more.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Um, but like this song, I mean, if you listen to the words, I feel like you can get a pretty good idea if you know what a golden boy is. So it's a gold plated lever action. Um, gold plated lever action 22. Lever just phonetically didn't sound good. It felt like I was
Yeah, no, that's fair.
like
I kind of
throwing
figured that's
up.
what it was.
Yeah, it just didn't
Big
fall
Val.
off the tongue very well.
Yeah, I got you.
Lever action. So but that song's just about an inheritance from my grandpa. The line, it says youngest of four boys and never thought this would happen. I mean, that's just about like out of all the people that he could leave it to, for whatever reason he wanted to leave it to me. So I thought it was a special thing, and I don't really remember why I decided to write that song. That was one of the first few songs I wrote, and it started out in like almost like a 6/8, like bluesy type of thing. So it's kind of cool to see like where it's gone, like way more driving.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I want to chime in on that. It's funny. The song used to be completely different. I don't even remember what it was, like especially the groove. But then when we got into the studio, it just became such a straightforward driving. Like
Right.
I think Dwight said it's like Tom Petty driving. I don't even remember
Yeah.
what he said.
The Tom
Okay.
Petty thing always confused me because I never heard it. Like
Yeah.
I got that comparison, but I mean, I'll take it.
I don't know. I don't know
I'll
where
take
it came from, but it was just like, okay, yeah, that does sound better. And then just the song got built around it, and it was, I don't know, it was cool. It just like, well, wouldn't say it got built around it, but it just added a
Yeah.
lot more, and it just,
yeah.
I don't know. It was
Gave
cool.
this song a lot more of like a direction. It really drove
Yeah.
the crap out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And Caden, one story that I'm fascinated with that I still don't know, the day that y'all record the bass line, and I wasn't
Yeah.
there. What happened that day? Because
I think Dwight recorded it. Wait.
yeah, so he
Yeah.
did the bass line, but like, what was it like? Y'all couldn't figure out, and then he was just like, "Give me."
Oh
that.
no. That was like the baseline day. I didn't have a good baseline for Golden Boy. I knew I wanted Dwight to fiddle with it anyways, because I couldn't find anything I was really like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
And then I did, I think like 4 or 5 songs straight before that. And then I got to it and I was just like, you know what, Dwight, you got this. Knock it out in like 20 minutes and I'll learn it. We're good.
The bass line, I mean, as simple as it is on like a note side of things, like just the actual proficiency of it is pretty wild.
Oh yeah, I mean, it just follows the drums right into it, keeps that song
Yeah.
absolutely chugging along.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, that song means a lot to me for obvious reasons. All the lyrics are real things. Like the home place is like a 35-acre ranch in Sycamore, Texas, that we go and hunt on every Thanksgiving, and we put bottles on branches of sycamore trees and try to shoot them down. Like it's all there in that one. So
yeah,
I love that lyricism, the home place, because everybody's got a home place. You know, it's like
yeah,
everybody that like grew up around that kind of place. You know, they have the home place, and then they're like every place has a name. You know, like some kind of inside name that only the people, like when we're driving around different fields trying to work ground and all that shit, we have like home place, Rachel's, mom's, pops. It's like very relatable.
Yeah, it's cool. And like that second verse that we wrote in the studio, I love that second verse. And you're
the oil man, dude.
Yeah, I don't sometimes you just write stuff and it just like pours out of you.
That was a nugget of fucking gold, dude.
Nugget.
But yeah, and then like you were laughing about like Papa, Like it's almost like an additional drum.
Yeah, it is
like going straight back into that second half of the verse was like pop. So it's drum fill almost.
Really fucking cool. It's like a moment.
Yeah. But all right, we'll go into the next one.
I do want to say I think that song sleeper solo compared to some of the rest of the ones. Like, yeah, there's some clear favorites for best solo on this, John. I think that one might be creeping up for me.
That one is a pretty good solo.
I like how dirty it is at the beginning.
Yeah, it's a stank face. It's a stank face solo for sure.
Yeah.
But we'll go on to the next track, which at this point was released 2 days ago.
Nice.
This is Wish I Didn't Know You.
She's the one for me, I can't deny it. Won't even fight it. Her hair so soft and shiny. She's a goddess in these modern times. It blows my mind. I wish you could see the look in her eyes. Will break it down. She's the best thing that I've ever seen. But I got a problem losing things that I don't have. She's too perfect. I wish I didn't know you. Well, I got a few things that I could say to make you stay. But I got this feeling you won't. I'm an expert in screw-ups. I never get it right. On the first try, I outkick my coverage. I'm so used to this kind of girl. I'll break it down. But she's the best thing that I've ever seen around. But I got a problem losing things that I don't have. She's too perfect. I wish I didn't know you. One, two, three, four. I wish I didn't know you. I wish I didn't know you.
That song, obviously it's catchy, you know.
That song fucking rocks, dude.
but it's one of those ones where like it was just there for me. Like I knew it was good, but like since we've put it out, I've like fell in love with it. It's such a cool song, and I think the production's killer on it.
No, I agree.
The harmonies in the chorus sound so cool. I've never heard harmonies like that before. It's such a weird,
those are crazy.
A weird harmony. But and Rob, I love the loud drums. It just like we went back and forth. We went back and forth on it for so long, and even when I called Dwight, I was like, hey, how do you feel about the drums? And immediately after I said that, he was like, dude, I spent so long trying to figure out if I want them loud or not. And like he knew exactly what I was talking about. And and then I basically just told him, I was like, was like, honestly, I kind of like it because that era of music, that's how the drums were mixed. They were super loud, and it just, like you just feel them. And
Just that cracking snare too.
the snare is just so in your face, and I love it.
No, I agree. I've grown to it's grown on me definitely, because after, I don't know, at first I'm always like, I don't necessarily want the drums super duper loud, like I want it to just kind of be back there. And then when you listen to the song and you think about just like what it's about and what we were going for, it's like, no, okay, loud drums make sense. It has to have it.
And it's that anti like narcissism that we all have, where it's like we like to hear each other.
Yeah.
We don't always like to hear ourselves. We like to hear each other's parts more than ourselves.
Right.
But like that was one where and like I'm not a huge fan of loud drums. I'm like you, where I want it to be kind of all flow into like the same kind of pocket. But that one, they gotta be just banging. Like
no, I 100% agree.
And
it definitely it only makes the most sense.
Yeah, and a cool thing, I was showing this song to someone. I was with a friend the night it came out, and I was showing it to him and his girlfriend. And what it did to them was exactly what I wanted, as far as like a response. When the song was over, they were like, "Oh, it sounds like this," or like, "It sounds like this also," and like that. I'm like, yeah, because I just tried to do it, like we tried to just make it where it just fit, like in the whole category of pop punk.
Right.
Like it's just a fun song. So that was awesome when they were just going back and forth. They're like, "Well, it kind of sounds like this," and I'm just smiling the whole time. Like, perfect.
Nice.
We did it.
I remember when we were recording that, right at the end of the bridge, like right when it kind of all tunes down, we had to have Mason stand behind my bass and like tune it down for me and then bring it back up so I could keep playing. That was such a fun, like random little thing we had to do.
I think about that moment every time I listen to that bridge. Like every time I think about Mason bringing your guitar down.
It sounds so fat too. It turned out so cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll go to the next one. Don't Shout, the title track. Mason, you can talk about this one after we're done. But here we go.
Man.
Ugh.
That song is so good.
That one never gets old.
That song just ended up so much cooler than like I ever could have imagined.
Same here.
Yeah, and
I think that
go ahead.
I think that song's probably going to become one of the most, if not the most popular on the record.
It seems to be a common denominator among people who've listened to it. Like that, the person that I showed that "Wish I Didn't Know You To" that was talking about "It Sounds Like This" or whatever. That's his favorite one.
Okay,
Nice.
that's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that one. Like, one memory I have of that one was this was the only song on the record that we actually made a demo for.
Mhm.
Yeah.
When me, Mason, and Caden, I don't remember where you were, Rob, but we went
I don't know.
to Caden's. Was it your house or we were house
My
sitting?
parents' house. Yeah, we were I was house sitting for my parents.
Yeah.
We got some Andolini's pizza and went to the lab, you know what I'm saying?
We went to the lab and recorded a demo, and every instrument was on like a half bar delay, and like
Yeah.
we're like trying to record these guitar parts, and like
Because we didn't have like the right connector or something, right?
yeah, so
Yeah.
like Mason's trying to play guitar parts on an input delay. So like
Yeah,
he's
like
strumming the chord,
like a
and
one
then
full
it's like
second.
he's strumming the chord, and then a full second it doesn't appear onto the track.
Yeah.
And so like
That was fun.
the first demo of it, everything is just so off time. It's like staggered. But
Mhm.
but
We
like the first,
tried so many different things.
yeah,
We at one point like muted everything and then
yeah.
brought my bass out and tried to get Mason to like play it to that and then bring everything back up to see if it matched up. And that was that the way it ended up working?
Yeah, just have to
I
like
think so.
nudge it over, to make it close.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, we just recorded the parts and then put it in time.
That's
Yeah.
But
Order
yeah,
to a metronome. And then
yeah, and then like I remember the first demo of it had trumpets, which if we ever do a remix, gotta throw some trumpets.
Some trumpets.
We
that'd
had
be
a
cool.
we had a trumpet melody on there, and it was. I mean, it wasn't anything crazy, but I mean,
it sounded like shockingly similar to that backwards guitar part in the beginning.
yes.
Like looking back
Yeah.
at it.
Really?
Yeah, it was kind of weird. It
Because
sounds like
the
similar to
trumpet
it.
melody, was da da da, and then it would be the guitar like between that, and then it'd go da da da.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was pretty cool. But
I
Mason,
think the backwards guitar and the way that ended up at the beginning of the song is just so cool.
Yeah. With some Dwight wizardry.
Yeah, I don't even know how that ended up happening. And then like that little like at the beginning it kind of sounds like a drum machine that comes in, but I think it's just what Dwight called the train fuckery. I think that's just that starting that makes that little like drum fill sound at the beginning. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. It was. I don't remember what it was. Was it?
It sounds like
Like a synth,
a
I
little
think.
drum machine.
I think it was a synthesizer.
Yeah.
It was like.
Was it? Okay, that would make more sense. I thought it was like, yeah, no, it was
Wasn't
because
that
that's like
Yeah.
that's like the
like
thing that goes under the whole song, and you
Right.
hear it at the end.
it was a bass synthesizer, like kind of like what we used on the demo.
I
Yeah,
think it wasn't didn't we send that one to Dwight and use that one?
I think we sent the Wave demo to him. I don't
Maybe
know.
we didn't. Maybe we just figured one out like it. But yeah, that's when it kind of
But-
really all wrapped it together is when we got that
Yeah.
one synth bass line running.
If there's one thing about that song that I can never get enough of is that synth and the interlude parts and stuff where it's doing the like every
Yeah.
I cannot get enough of that synthesizer, dude. I honestly texted him and I was like, turn it up. But I knew it was like I knew it was gonna be too much. But like I just could not I just want like an isolated track of just that synthesizer. Because it makes me gooseneck more than anything.
Yeah. The intro part's cool too, with how it starts. Because I had that 1975 song in mind,
Yeah,
And
love
I was
me.
like, yeah, I was like, how can we like make it like a nod, but not like, not
Right.
do too much. And Dwight was like, no, fuck it, let's like paint it like they do. Like that'll be a nod. That'll be like,
Yeah, that was the nod. Yeah.
Once it gets past that, there's not very much similarity between it.
No.
That first little spots.
But I always love showing people that song and then showing them Love Me after, and they're like, oh. Like, oh, I get it. But yeah, and the second half, I mean the whole solo, I think that solo is in strong contention for best solo on the album. The second half of it is just so dancey, like Michael Jackson type of dancey, sequence of notes or whatever. But
yeah,
it's a good one. I'm glad it's the title track because I think even in the lyrics, like if you want to talk about the lyrics, go ahead.
Yeah, so the lyrics basically, I'm not really talking about one specific thing. It's more of like kind of like a mindset that I take with a bunch of things. And it kind of ties it in with the title of the record. It's when a person is standing next to you, there's no need to shout unless he's a giant. And then on the artwork, he's like a country artist, if you will, and so like our whole thing was like with that song, the way I looked at it when I was writing it was like, okay, I gotta write about breaking the mold. But what's cool about Don't Shout is like we did that more, like we did the break the mold thing, not only in the writing and the lyrics, but just the form of the song. There's no chorus.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird fucking song, really. But I mean, that was the whole point of that. It was like make something that sounds like completely like nothing else,
Yeah.
But
it's a little bit dissociative for me sometimes.
Yeah, me too.
And it might just be because we made it. But at the same time, I mean, I feel like there's a reason so many people like it because it just like I don't know, it just makes you feel something,
Yeah.
You can't explain.
I really like the approach I took with the like vocal too, like making it kind of angsty, whiny a little bit.
Yeah.
Instead of sing it more, I was like trying to yell, I was like shouting. That was the whole point.
But at the same time, though, that's kind of how your vocals are. I mean, like on Clarity, when we get into it, like it's
see, that has the same angsty thing though too. Like when we're, I mean,
that song is whiny. So
right. It's like, I mean, I'm saying a bunch of shit. It's like
that song's like this.
So yeah.
But all right.
Oh,
into what's up?
The organ in the second verse.
Oh, yeah.
Just the
stabs.
Every time. Like twinges me in my soul.
There's one organ part in there, which if you listen to the rough a lot, which I'm sure you probably did, there's one organ part in the solo that's right in that gap where Mason does that like slide up bend thing, and it's Dwight just like sliding and screaming on the organ, and like he kept it down right there. I don't know if it would have worked if it was turned up, but like that was definitely something where I was like, I kind of wish it was turned up a little bit. But it's whatever.
And watching Dwight sit there and run through that song like 15 times on the organ was, I think that was such a fun experience for me, just to watch him go through and do all his different little things.
That one was fun in the studio, and it was fun to record and to write, and it was just a good time on that one. I mean, we knew going into it like it was going to be a good time doing that one.
Mm-hmm.
I think the result couldn't really be any better than what I wanted it to be honest.
It was so fun just because it was like we didn't know what it was going to be, so we had no like end goal, so we were just sitting there throwing everything we had at it. It's like throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing what stuck to it, like with that backwards guitar solo at the beginning.
Yeah.
That was not premeditated at all. That was literally Mason trying to record the solo and had a take that we didn't like. And then I don't even remember how we got to the point where we're like, let's reverse it and put it in the beginning of the song. Like, that's how we arrived.
Dwight just started. Dwight just like went down this little pad.
Oh yeah, that's
cool, bro.
Yeah.
He's like, let me see if this will be cool. And
yeah. That's what it was. We were all just chilling on the couch, and he was like, just messing with stuff on there. All right, we'll get into the next track. Meant to Me, been around for a while. Our most streamed song, which I'll dig into the whole stream thing later when I talk about Other Side of Time. But we'll go to Meant to Me.
Well, I don't wanna see your damn face anymore. I boxed all your things in there on the floor. Get your ass out of my damn house and take your bullshit to someone else. When I walked in on you with another guy, it took all of me tonight. Grab my gun and shoot him right where he was standing. So I grabbed the bat and caved his ribs in. Why did you do this to me? I hate the man I am when you piss me off. And you don't know what you meant to me. What you meant to me. Oh. Why did you do this to me? I hate the man I am when you piss me off. And you don't know what you meant to me. What you meant to me.
All reliable.
Swirl of emotions.
I think probably my favorite thing about this song, more so just being on the album, is this is where you get the first taste of us diving into like our metal influence. And I mean just in the scales used and um the writing. I can't really explain it. You know, this is the song that people always like say to me, they're like, dude, like what? And so like I mean it's just I don't really know. I mean so like the reason the lyrics are what they are was because it was kind of impulsive. I just wanted it to match like the intensity of the song. Like it just like when we got that first riff and I heard like how heavy it was when we first started writing it and coming up with it, it just felt heavy and I wanted the lyrics to represent that. And I was on Snapchat the other day and there was a video of the first time we listened to the rough, or maybe it was the final, I can't remember. It was one of the mixes at Mason's house on the stereo system, and we're listening to it, and you can hear Rob in the back row. He goes, That's a dark line. But and you could say that for, probably all of the lines for the most part. I mean, obviously, caving somebody's ribs in is pretty dark. I don't know what I was on writing that, but
It's on that anchor pack, dude.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that song's fun to play even live still, just because that little breakdown at the end is always fun, and then we usually kind of just like draw it out.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then also with the Greta intro, like it's so cool.
Dog. I love
Yeah,
that shit, dude.
I love that we've found ways to keep that song fresh to us.
Yeah.
Like incorporating the Greta intro, and like when we played it at Grady's the second time, like the jam we did at the end was, I mean, just
Yeah.
we were all pretty locked in on that.
I still listen to that, dude.
I do too. I listen to it frequently. Like, because my favorite part about that video, which I might cut it into this podcast, is whenever we go into the jam and we do the drum fill and we all come down, I headbang super hard. And then you see these two people sitting front row. It's this woman and a man, a husband, wife, whatever. And she's sitting there, and as soon as she sees me headbang and us go into that, she just looks at her husband. She's like that.
Like, where are we?
Yeah, exactly. They're like, what? But yeah, it's that one will always be fun to play live. I might not listen to it that much, but I do enjoy playing it live. It's just very intense, and it definitely gets, like, if I have any sort of frustration before a show, that gets it out of me for sure. Like,
Yeah. I especially like when we open with it. It's just such like it just hits so hard. It sets the tone for like the first half of the show, and then we bring it down. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, our shows just like the album are kind of like this the whole time, because like genre wise, because you have Meant to Me, and then like you could, the next song, or like here it's Don't Shout, and then the next song's Meant to Me. So it's like
right,
like a dancey type of thing to some heavy rock. It's kind of polarizing a little bit.
Yeah.
But which, as far as the order of the album, when I first was trying to come up with the order, I made it where, like, I thought it made sense in terms of like a swelling sense, where like it started, it was always going to start with Golden Boy. I thought it was a good opener, and then like after that it was going to be like a couple of big songs, and then like maybe like a slow song, then like swell it back up and have this grand finale or whatever. And then Mason came up with one. In my notes it says like Don't Shout Mason, and it's his order, and it's this one. And because he told me, he was like, isn't the whole point that it's supposed to just be like all over the place? So then we put it in order where it was almost like every song was completely different from the one before it. So like Golden Boy to Wish I Didn't Know You to Don't Shout to Meant to Me, it's like you go through 4 different genres in the first 4 songs, like completely, not even like a subtle difference, like a complete difference.
Right.
And I just, it's the album starts out such a cool way for me. But
For sure.
all right, well, we'll go to the next track, the ever eluding Where Were You? Well, I'll talk about it more after. But.
And all I had left to own was a 6-string. $200 in a broken dream. So I thought you were meant for me. Turns out it's just for the money. I'm so damn tired of being used. Brand new clothes and expensive shoes. Oh, where were you?
Hear that like bubbly thing at the end?
Mhm.
So that song is lyrically just a hypothetical story about me or someone being a famous musician, and then suddenly their career just goes downhill. They stop making money, people stop calling, and his girlfriend or wife, whatever at the time, leaves him. And so it's kind of like this petty song where it's like you were just in it for the money, like pretty basic concept, um, but framed in a very strange way. Um, very strange. The thing with this song that makes me come back to it is the bridge.
Yeah, man.
Um, the bridge in this song has my favorite bass line on the entire album.
Agreed.
It is such a cool and unique bass line. Like I was talking to Caden about this. You know, I remember being there and like the first time we came up with the bass line, I'm just sitting there like, what? And then like as because we're coming up with it without the song basically, like where the song is paused and him and Dwight are going back and forth, and then the first time I hear it played in context, I'm like, holy, like it. I don't know. It just sounds. I never heard a bass line that sounds like that. Like
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think that was a little guitar coming out of Dwight's magic fingers or whatever. Because I was sitting there thinking the same thing. He was kind of just leading me through that. So I really didn't know what to do with the bridge either. And up until I was playing it with the song, I was still like, I don't get how this is even gonna work. All right, I'll give it a shot. And then it just like, ugh, kind
yeah,
of
I mean,
melted.
it's like it's just so out there that it works for the song because the song is just kind of so out there. Uh,
Mhm.
you know, for everybody listening, all four of us agree that this is a very weird song, and
Yeah.
and we all think it's probably the worst song on the album. But like
Yeah.
but
like
like this song when we went into the studio, we told Dwight, we're like, like, like
it was just, I mean,
and so we're like, let's just see what happens. And then we just came out with this. And like it's strangely catchy. Like the chorus is like kind of catchy, and the verses are have kind of a cool element to them. Like there's a lot of space in the verses, and then that bridge is just so dramatic. Like it I just love the bridge. That's what
Mhm.
keeps me coming back to the song more than anything else. So
was the song was so weird that like up until we had it recorded, I feel like we would play it differently almost any time we played it, whether it was practice or like a live show or whatever. It would just be almost a different vibe each time. There was nothing we could really lock down until we were like sat down and really ironed it all out.
Well, and the funny thing is like when we play this song live, we still don't know how to play it as good as the recording.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's necessary that we know how to play it as good as the recording. I think it's just still the same thing that you were saying, Caden, about it just being like
It's
we
like
just play it. Like it's not one that we ever practice. It's not one that we ever necessarily want to play, but we just play it and we do the same thing on stage that we did in the studio. We just go in like, eh.
It is
It's
really
like we all have the general direction of where the song's going. We know what notes what beats are on where, but other than that, kind of just
it is really funny because like whenever I put it on the set list at shows, like I know that nobody wants to play it because like, we don't know how to play it. We don't know how to play it. Like it's different every time, but like I just put it on there because I'm like that's like a cool thing though that I feel about that song is like we don't know how to play it, but like we own it, you know? Like it's like it's our little chunk of just like weirdness, kind of like like I love playing it at shows because I love to see everybody just completely lose their attention for 4 minutes. Like it's the funniest thing because like it just makes everybody feel uneasy a little bit, and I don't know how to describe it because like the song itself doesn't sound like uneasy, like it sounds like a song, but like when you play it, it makes everybody like I don't know. It's funny to see people react to that song, and I will always have high hopes for it. That like there's some just fraction of the community that will hold on to this song and be like, this is a Creekland deep cut, like screw like this song is awesome. So I really hope that happens. If it doesn't, I don't care. But it's cool if it happens.
You guys trying to talk. Kai wants to guest appear on the fucking pod, bro. Kai wants to go outside.
Kai, what do you think of Where Were You?
Yeah, Kai. What do you think of Where Were You?
Same.
Yeah. Same. All right. We'll go next track. We'll go Nom Lom, which is a song that not a lot of people have heard. It's only been played live like 2 times, and mostly just acoustic by me. But yeah, here we go. Nom Lom, which stands for Not Much Left of Me, if you can't figure that out yourself.
Yeah, this song's about you, and I doubt you'll ever hear it, but I gotta get this off my chest, so I don't have to feel it. Yeah. Never been lonely, many songs to get over you. You might as well be a cosign and take the royalties too. Well, I tried all I could try, but it remains the same. So I guess I'll write another. My 6 strings of pain. Or maybe I'm the one to blame. Or maybe it's the little things. Maybe I could right some wrongs, and what if isn't what I'm stuck on? Figure 8 to make it stop. Oh, why can't you just say I wasn't good enough for you? And I'll move on with what's left of me. Well, there's not much left of me. 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 There's not much left.
That outro is amazing.
That's my number one for guitar solos in the whole record.
Really.
Really?
I had a feeling you were going to say that actually,
That's
I love
surprising to
that.
me.
because one time you made a comment where you were like, you know how like the solo in Nom Nom's like the peak of the album? I was like, yeah, I guess. I don't know. But
No, dude, I can't go on record saying that, bro.
that's what you said. I'll throw you under the bus for it.
Dude, I didn't mean it, bro. I didn't mean it. In hindsight, I retract the opinion, dude. Fuck.
I like that song. I just like, I don't know. I love what it turned into. It's like really kind of stayed what it's started as for you, Harrison, I feel like. And I don't know, the first time I ever heard you play that song, I remember saying to you, I was like, we're gonna record that. I was like,
Yeah,
that song's good.
I said the same exact thing. Like,
Yeah.
we have to do that one, dude. We are doing that one.
Yeah.
It's
And
kind
it's
of
like,
funny. It's kind of funny that it took convincing from like Mason and you, like to
yeah.
when you record it. And I was like, really? Oh. But
It's definitely like the slowest and quietest song we have. I mean, we'll listen to Coming Home later, but this is obviously a lot just it's not the same idea as Coming Home. And it's I don't know. I like that it's really soft and that it's a break almost halfway
Yes.
through the album. And then it's like, okay, here we go.
That's what I was about to say. It's like it's almost like a break from like the weirdness for a second.
Right.
It's like, all right, like collect yourself for a minute and then get back into it after that.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, yeah, no, I agree. I was gonna say we're about to listen to the rest of the album, and it's like it doesn't get that weird, but it has its quirks.
It's more so like up until Nom Lom, it's weird, and then after that, it's more so just like intense, kind of.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because Clarity, Head Trash, and Other Side of Time, and Coming Home, they're not weird. They're well put together songs, and
Yeah.
but like Nom Lom's almost like a palate cleanser for the rest of the album.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing I wrote like a note on it was it just says easiest song for Rob. Like as far as recording drums.
Which you honestly would think, but that's not
Yeah.
true at all.
Yeah.
And like especially playing live, just like keeping that stone cold, just backbeat like that without having like a metronome or something in your ear. Like it's honestly easier in the studio for doing that because I haven't met, but doing it on stage is just like, all right, like you fuckers better listen to me. Like
what was the easiest song or is the easiest song for you, do you think?
To play live or during recording?
Both. I mean, they were recorded live, so
yeah, I guess that's fair. I'd say Coming Home. Well, no, is the easiest.
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Yeah. Coming Home probably just because I shut my eyes and I just I get into my own little world.
Yeah.
I feel like the little soul on the Pixar film Souls. You know,
Yeah, dude.
whenever it gets into the zone.
That's awesome, yeah.
That's what
and I'll talk about that in a minute. That's kind of similar to something I wrote about Coming Home. I'll talk about.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah. This song too features my favorite instrument on the whole album, the Get Joe. Love the Get Joe throughout the whole song, specifically the bridge. I kind of lose myself in the bridge sometimes.
That's like that's kind of cool. I was watching this YouTube video. It was Uncle Larry. He's Tommy Bukovac. He's some natural guitar player. He's been doing it forever.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a monster. And it's like the technique that he was doing is like a false finger picking thing because he was doing it with a pick. And so that was like the only other time I ever saw somebody play a guitar like that was the Get Joe besides Uncle Larry.
Which, for reference for listeners, a Get Joe is strung exactly like a guitar, but it has the body of a banjo. So it sounds like a banjo, but it plays like a guitar.
Ding 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 ding.
So, but yeah, like I always just because that Get Joe is in the song, I always had like references of Taylor Swift popping in my head. Not that the song was on like a Taylor Swift level, but I was always like, this is my T Swift song, you know?
That's funny.
But all right, well, we'll get into Clarity, the third single from the album, Pop Rock.
Lately I've been running from days. But you took it all away, and now I'm trying to say that I'm walking out the door, out the door, and I can't take this anymore, all that you want, all of the time. Hope you're happy now, wish you the best, but rest assured my life's a mess. All that you are is stuck in my mind, 'cause you left me with this melody, but I can't seem to find any clarity tonight. But I can't seem to find any clarity tonight, tonight, tonight. But I can't seem to find any clarity tonight.
So I think Mason knows because I think we were the ones that kind of divulged in it. But do y'all know what song was the main influence for this one?
I don't think I do.
No,
Caden? Mason, do you know?
I think so. I know who it was.
Well, I guess there's technically two, but it was "Get It Your Way," Band Camino.
Yeah.
And me and Mason, like specifically that guitar part, you know, at the end, like this, the
All that you are.
that they do a freaking huge thing and "Get It Your Way" at the end, and me and Mason were like, oh, like it hits so hard. So we need to like try to do something like that. And then I guess the other one though was "Blood Orange," by the Wildlife. That was more so the verses were inspired from that. But Mason, you want to talk about the lyrics? I mean, because well, first off, let me say this song was written in like an hour, like top.
Yeah.
Like for some reason, it just like happened, like boom. Like me and Mason had melodies in like 5 seconds. Like I came up with that chorus like first attempt, and I was like, whoa. like I don't know. It was just it happened so fast, and this was the only song. I say the only song, but like the most prominent thing where we all wrote it.
Yeah.
You know, because some of them I wrote it and then we wrote the instruments, or and but this one was like from top to bottom, all four of us written.
we were just
Yeah, it's funny.
start to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I remember we were like sitting in the basement of White House, and I was laying on my back on that nasty rug that we had down there. But we were just like trying to think of like we were all collectively trying to think of lyrics. You had the melody for the chorus, but we couldn't we didn't know the tagline. And the word clarity came just out of nowhere, and we were like, oh wait, that's it. Like that's it.
Yeah. When I was writing the verses, I mean, I liked, like, I basically instantly when we had the progression, I almost instantly came out with that first melody, and like basically what I was thinking about was just a bunch of like super sappy, like backhanded things to say. I mean, it's obviously like a relationship song, like can't find any clarity in the relationship. So like I'm talking about like I deleted all the pictures off my phone because I didn't need them and I don't want to see them. It's like me trying to be like sassy and sappy.
Petty.
Sassy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just I remember that night so vividly just because, like I said, it happened so quick, and then once we had wrote it, we immediately started playing it, and then there was kind of like this cool moment where all of us had like this very innate like sense of pride and like energy towards the song. Just like I don't know, it wasn't like cockiness. It was more just confidence. We're like, yeah, like we just wrote this. Like this is awesome, you know. And one of the things though that I wanted to talk about was the thing I find the most strange about this song was when we wrote it and we recorded it, we all wanted it to be the first single from the album. Because we thought, this is like a good, catchy pop rock, like um, radio song.
Yeah.
And but this song has been thoroughly outperformed by "Meant to Me" and "Other Side of Time." And so when I was thinking about it one night, I started to think maybe I wonder if people question like the authenticity of it, like if it feels fabricated, because it is like kind of a catchier poppy kind of rock song. Um, and at the same time that kind of made me a little upset, but at the same time I was like, honestly, it's kind of cool that they dig more of the heavy kind of really thought out lyrics about, I mean, "Meant to Me" I guess is not really that thought out, but "Other Side of Time" outperforms it by a mile, and which is just really really a cool thing because to me this song I thought had the most commercial appeal.
Right.
And it's a funny thing to think about when you write the song, you're like, oh yeah, this is like a radio song, which that was what I thought. um but it doesn't perform like one, which I'm not mad about. I don't really care about streams. I just want people to like it. If that's 5 people or 50 or 100, I don't care. Um, I just want people to like it.
Yeah.
But that was one thing about the song that I found strange was how it didn't perform to the standard that I thought it was going to. But at the same time, I wasn't displeased because it was almost like people dug more of basically what's on the rest of the album. Because this song, we wrote it, but and at certain elements, sometimes it doesn't feel like us.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I was about to say that. It almost feels sometimes when we're playing it live, it almost feels like a cover. Because I remember the first time we actually played it all the way through, it was like you, Harrison, and Rob were working on like just the drum part, and then Mason was walking me through the chord progression. By the time we got done, you guys were done, and we just played it, and then we haven't really changed it since then. It was just almost
Yeah.
done from get go.
It was finished. It was finished when it was written. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think we could make it any better, to be honest. But like I said, it doesn't really matter to me as far as performance, because we all four of us know how much that song means to us as far as the collaborative aspect of it.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
And so I'll never be upset with streams. It doesn't really matter to me, and I don't think it matters to most of y'all. Honestly, it'd be great if we had freaking 12 million streams. Yeah, that'd be awesome. But at the same time, there's a little bit of like fighting your ego, where it's kind of you. I'm more content with what we were able to accomplish than how the songs do from a streaming. Like I will always be proud of that song and the whole rest of the album, regardless of if people like it or not.
Oh yeah, I mean, just to be able to be like, here's our studio recorded, professionally done, awesome album. Like not there's not a ton of people who say that. Some people do, but it's pretty cool being able to say it for ourselves.
And I mean, we did it with "Men to Me," the first song we put out, and we'll do it again with the album. The very existential thought is we've immortalized ourselves in a sense, where this is going to live on longer than we will. And that's a really cool thing to me. So that's why I don't really care about how successful it is or anything like that, because it's always going to be us, and it's never going to die. I mean, unless something with music changes and this is outdated, like this platform is outdated, Apple Music or whatever, then maybe it will then. But as far as I'm concerned, I think it'll probably stay the test of time. That's just my existential thought of the week.
Yeah.
I thought about it before, so but yeah, let's get to the next track unless anybody has anything else to say about Clarity. Good. All right.
Good.
Next track, Head Trash, Mason. I guess all three of you need to talk about this one when we're done, because I was not there when y'all recorded it, like at all.
The Creekland Trio.
It was like the Creekland Trio.
This is Creekle.
Yeah, this is Creekle. And was not there, so Head Trash.
The price I pay. calling it quits.
I gotta say, if that's not my favorite guitar solo on the record, then it is a very, very, very close second.
It's a good
That
one.
is always, it's always such a face scruncher. Oh, it's such a good one.
That's a cool thing in it when like the first note or like solo comes in, it's like a chord that hasn't been played throughout the whole song yet. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah. What
Yeah.
is it? D first chord?
I think it's in F sharp minor. Well, no, it's in. Yeah, I think it is actually.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. No, it is cool. It kind of just like teleports you into the solo.
know. Yeah,
But yeah, y'all tell all the stories you want. Like I said, I wasn't there. I was in Colorado, and I just remember y'all sending it to me, and
Mhm.
I was like,
Well,
wow.
that song has like my favorite little trivia or story behind anything we recorded, and it was when we plugged in that Epiphone guitar.
yeah, man. So
Dude,
the guitar has like super
That
microphone
super
pickups.
that super crappy one that hangs on the wall.
Yeah, it's like from the 60s or some shit. It's
yeah,
old and it has like super microphony pickups. I'm pretty sure it's the same kind of deal. It's the same kind of guitar. I don't know if it's the same guitar, but definitely similar pickups that like some people like scream into them. Like I know Sturgill Simpson has screamed into one in one of his records and it picks it up. But we were trying to make feedback tracks and Dwight plugged in that. He was like, let's see what this does. And so it started making this crazy siren sound. It sounded like police sirens. And so after we got that starting to go, he turned the volume down, the volume or the tone knob, one of the knobs down on the guitar, and it shifted the pitch down, which
Yeah.
was super interesting. It didn't make any sense. I mean, I'm not a scientist but it didn't make any sense why the pitch was going
Math
down.
magician.
Yeah. That part's really cool. And it's like coming out of the solo.
and it just fits so perfectly with the song.
Yeah,
It's
like
like it's just
thematically.
like a little gift to us. Like, here you go, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like we
I
also
remember
went with
first started,
you go ahead.
I was gonna say, I remember when it first started happening, Dwight was like, someone hit record. Because he
Yeah,
just
yeah.
didn't know if he's gonna be able to do it again.
Right. And yeah, it's cool that it like really does fit thematically. Like it's kind of like police siren because like writing the song, I mean, we also went with no chorus on this one because it's kind of like it's almost like a snippet of like the feeling of what it would be like to be like some sort of drug mule. It's all theoretical. I don't run drugs across the country in a fucking U-Haul trailer, but
Yeah.
Allegedly.
like
Allegedly.
yeah, allegedly. But that's where the idea came from. Just like watching shows, you know, and like other songs that are similar to that. Like, I mean, Dwight has one, Austin Mead has one. I was like, dude, we got to have a song like that, man. That's cool. And yeah, that's where I got the whole idea. And with it being kind of super heavy, we wanted like a chunk of that in the record, like something super heavy. And this kind of has like a kind of maybe a metalish thing in the lick, but it's kind of like it almost feels like old school rock a little bit.
Yeah. I get a little bit of grunge, but like the solo feels more like classic rock.
Right.
And
The song, oh, this song, whenever we went in to record it, it was like everything just fell into place immediately. Like it's like we just, I don't know how long this song took us to record, but it was a significantly shorter amount of time than any of the other songs. It felt like
Yeah,
I don't
I
know if
think
it was because there was less parts or if it was just like we all just like it only took us all a couple takes.
yeah.
yeah.
No, I mean, I remember like because like when I was in Colorado, the day y'all went into the studio to record it, y'all had sent me like the full song, like at the end of the day,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and I mean, I was like surprised, but at the same time, I wasn't because I just knew that that song was. Because sometimes when you go into the studio with a concrete idea, it takes longer because you're trying to make sure that it aligns with whatever values you have for the song. But like when you go into the song, when you go in there with like something like Head Trash, where it's kind of very open ended, it happens a lot quicker because it
Yeah.
just it's kind of like a spur of the moment type of thing. And yeah, it's a great song. I hope that one does well. To be honest, if there's any song on the entire album that I hope actually gets some sort of recognition that I care about, it would be that one. Just because I think it's such a cool song. And like Mason, for you, was there any sort of like inspiration, whether like you had mentioned, like Awesome Meat and White Lighters as far as the lyrics, but as far as like the guitar riff and stuff, you know, I see a lot of similarities in format to like The Well.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Um,
With there's like no chorus in the well either. It's like centered
Yeah.
around guitar motif.
yeah, exactly. So
And
was that like something you had in your head when you were doing
yeah,
it?
for sure. Because we play the well in our set usually. And I was like, I'm in love with the idea of, I mean, it's obvious I'm in love with the idea because two of the songs that I played a big part in writing on this record don't have a chorus.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a big fan of that though. Like,
Yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
never opposed to no chorus as long as I love motifs. Like
right.
I don't mind them. I would take guitar motifs at the same frequency that I would take choruses. Like as long as they're good, which I think this one does. So
Right on.
yeah. All right. Well, let's get into the next track, the second to last one, "Other Side of Time." Um, I've got I've got quite a few words to say about this one. I mean, not a whole lot, but we'll get into it after.
Why is it so hard to find the pieces of your life? Spread them on the floor, place them in black and white. 'Cause it's all that we got, all that we need, till the end of our days. I've been thinking, when it all sin with us to light, and time slips away. What's left to say? And can I stay for a minute and take it in? Or will they fade in the dust, taken by the wind? On the other side of time, on the other side of time. Well, I know I'm too young to think about this, but it's on my mind when I see my brother's kid. I would like one day teach him the right way to live his life. Don't waste your time. Don't think twice. Have no regret. Time's all that's left. And can I stay for a minute and take it in?
Ooh.
That's a good one.
So, like I said, I got a few things to say about this one. First little tidbit: the intro guitar. So this that intro guitar, and then the guitar you hear at the very end. Those were both the first take live. When we went to the studio, because so when we go in there, the first thing we do is we track the song live, and then go back and do everything else.
Overdubs.
And and that was always something that was kind of cool and like special to me, was that those two guitar parts were from the original live take in the studio when we first got there, and that was a song that we were really excited to record. Um, just a cool song. And like I said, um, you know, I said Other Side of Time outperforms Clarity, but Meant to Me outperforms Other Side of Time by a lot as well. And one thing that I find is I have more people come up to me and tell me that they love that song. Like nobody ever comes up and tells me that they love Meant to Me or Clarity. The only like people come up to me and tell me they love that song, and that was always a cool thing to me, because this most recent show we played, and we hadn't played in a while, and when we played Other Side of Time, for some reason it felt different for me. Like it felt like a cult classic,
Right.
like for us, like it's that song I think is a deep cut for sure on the album. um and it's just it's so cool to see like the life that has evolved from it. um like I said, I that's the only song that I have people come up to me and say anything about. Even if they like the other two songs, they're like, dude, I love Other Side of Time. And that was just such a cool thing for me. And Mason, I wanted you to talk about, we had a conversation one time where you had some comments about the writing of it. So if you wanted to
Yeah, man. So as far as I can think, I don't know if there's another song that brings out the emotion that this does. I mean, there's plenty of like introspective songs and uh, like like existential songs even, which I would put this as an existential song.
Yeah.
But that the Brothers Kid line, man, that I love that so much. It brings something to me that I'm like, oh man, it's like I've had that feeling, that realization, it's like, oh man, like I'd like one day teach them the right ways, you know, and to not think twice and to whatever. But I'm no I've never don't I don't think I've ever heard it in that being conveyed within music like it does in this. Like it's such a cool thing to me. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you have some off the top of your head that you could think of that have that same thing, but
and maybe I don't, because I think the only reason I wrote that song was because I couldn't find anything else that did it for me.
right.
And when I sat down and wrote it, I wanted to write a song that elicited that kind of emotion for me. Of like, it's almost kind of like a count your blessings type of thing. And at the same time, there's a whole questioning of like the afterlife. To be honest, there's a whole questioning of it for me in that song. It's very for me, that song is definitely the deepest, I would say, from my perspective, um, as far as really kind of trying to dig into my own psyche and kind of get something out of me. I don't really remember what kind of frame of mind I was in when I wrote it. I just remember that I was home at my parents' house, and I was hanging out with a lot of family, and I kind of just had that emotion come to me that I wanted to I wanted to kind of count my blessings, and then at the same time, in the chorus, and can I stay for a minute and take it in, or will they all whatever fade away in the wind or whatever it is? Was just kind of like, there's like the cliche or whatever, like my life flashed before my eyes, like when something happens where it like stuns you, like car wreck or whatever, and the whole purpose of that was like, actually, when I die, am I able to kind of take everything in for a second, or is it just like that?
All right.
And so that's what the whole idea of the song really was the chorus was that idea of being able to reminisce for a second, and then the verses were all the things that I would like to reminisce about. And at the time that we're recording this, April 17th, I had posted on Instagram, my brother had a kid 2 days ago. And I posted, the line finally happens, which the only reason I said brother's kid was because phonetically I hated the way sisters, it was too many S's for me. Sister's kid. I felt like a parcel tongue in Harry Potter or something. But I didn't, so I did brother's kid because it just phonetically sounded better coming out of my mouth. But I always knew my brother was going to have a kid, and so that was just something that I was like, I'll just throw it in there, I like that. But yeah, I mean, existential is a good word.
Right.
So, and the song also features a really great bass line in the chorus. I love the chorus bass line.
That interlude, man.
Yeah,
I love like in between the pre-chorus. I mean, the pre-chorus is so fucking cool.
Yeah, it is really cool, and it's also
it's pretty bold
that we struggled to play live. Is that pre-chorus? The timing of it was so like there was so much space that there was so much margin for error for us.
Right.
Yeah.
The song was just hard to play for me. I don't know how you guys are doing with it all the time, but I know while we were recording it, I think this was probably the bass line that gave me the most trouble in like actually getting it tracked. But
I remember
it was always fun, kind of.
Yeah, no, I remember when we recorded in the studio, we took a while on the bass line. But at the same time, it turned out great. The bass line, like I said, the chorus bass line, if you really try to listen for it and like pick it out, it has a certain level of intensity to it that matches like that chorus. Another thing too, I just thought about with the chorus was I remember Mason telling me one time where he was like, how do you write for like a belt? Like that second chorus where I belt the line instead of singing it the way I do in the first one. I don't remember when it was, but you had said something to me, or like, it's like he's like, I don't know how you plan that out.
Yeah, it seems like you have to like start with that, it's like
yeah.
I don't know, either that or it's like I don't know.
Which, if anybody wants to hear the original song, like the first writing of it, it's on SoundCloud under my name, and I always call it like the campfire version of it.
You like falsetto it, don't you?
Yeah, the chorus is falsetto instead of a belt. It's pretty cool. But yeah, it's that song. I didn't realize how much it meant to me at the time recording it, but after recent events and just like that being the song that people always say something to me about, it's really cool to see. It has like a new lease on life for me as a song. So.
Wow. It's time to move on to the Mecca.
It's time to move on to Coming Home, the last track on the album, which was precedented from day one that it was going to be the last track on the album, just like how Golden Boy was always going to be the first track.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's funny because a lot of people struggle with what's going to be the first track and the last track, but for us, it was like, oh, it's Golden Boy and Coming Home. Like, it always has been.
That was pretty much how we opened and ended our shows too.
Yeah, we would start with Golden Boy and we would end with Coming Home.
And then just throw whatever random stuff we could in the middle.
Exactly. So that was our bracket. Was like, you got Golden Boy and you got Coming Home. Whatever you do in the middle is up to you.
Yeah. And might I just say, just before we listen to it, this song has just become, I don't know, it's the one that I listen to all the time. I love it. I love the production on it. It's just, I'm excited. I get excited every.
I have to listen to it again, almost every time.
Which
I get excited every time I'm about to click play.
Yeah, and in which this one is another one that people like from the handful of people that I've showed the whole record to. Even Caden met that random dude the other day and said it was one of his favorites off the album. So, which is really cool. And I'll talk about the story and some other stuff after we listen to it. But here is Coming Home.
And it feels like a freight train in my head, in my head. I know these apologies don't carry much away. What can I say to make you believe the words on this page? Cause the bright side gets harder to see. Every day takes a little more of me. What is it that I'm fighting for? I hate these boots on my feet and these tags on my neck. It's all on the line for my family and friends. The rain on this roof don't sound like it used to. And I promise you girls that I'll always come home. I read all your letters and I sent all my love. The kiss on my cheek hasn't worn off as far as I know. I'm coming home.
right. Let's listen to some Creed.
Yeah.
All right, there's my favorite solo.
Okay, yeah, I have a. So know that statement I retracted about that being the highlight. The highlight is the second half of the Dwight solo. That first fucking note that he comes in on, dude.
It's nasty, but it's your solo that's my favorite. Your solo in that song is like the most emotional I've ever heard a guitar been played. It's like someone's having inner dialogue with himself and like losing it and then smashing the walls around them, but like out of a guitar. I don't know how you did it. I feel it every time and it just sucks me in.
I agree.
It's ridiculous.
I agree. It's like Dwight's solo just crushes it, but I've always thought that Mason's solo like tells a story.
It's just brings you
But
in.
I'll tell you though, the second half of Dwight's solo, there's one note that just makes me full scrunch face. Oh wait, I gotta go back a track. It's right after he comes in.
That note, a harmonic minor, dog.
Dude. That's the metal influence as well too, like right there. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure all of us have a few things to say about this one. I'll just start out though with like the lyrics. The story of the song is written from letters from a friend of mine's brother who they're old letters from like the Afghan, like all the wars that went on in Afghanistan, writing letters. And I just happened to stumble upon them when I first started writing songs, and I was with Lawson Harris, and I really don't know how we came about being like, let's write a song about this, but it just happened, and so it was derived from that. And this song has the most writers on it on any of the and in any other song. Um, it has me and Lawson and Dwight and Mason, which I guess there's four. There's four on Clarity as well, but like actual lyric writing, there's four writers on it, and I think you can tell the lyrics are pretty strong.
Yeah, man.
My favorite line, which, and it's not even me being narcissistic, was when me and Lawson wrote it. One of the lines that I wrote was, "The rain on the roof doesn't sound like it used to," and that's like one of my favorite lines in that whole song. It's just like
pretty heavy.
It's very heavy, and I don't know necessarily where I got it from. If I was inspired from something else, maybe I was just in my own head. But as far as I know, I haven't heard a line similar. I'm sure there is, but I just haven't found it yet. But that line resonates with me a lot. And that second verse that we wrote in the studio was amazing. You know, every day takes a little more of me. That whole where we start doing the stabs and stuff. Um, and back to like what Rob was saying earlier, this song was always like, it was like half written. We didn't have the second verse, but it was pretty much already written when we started playing it. And this was the one song that when we would because sometimes we would practice songs and maybe it'd be kind of a grind, but there was always one song that we never minded practicing, and it was this one. And like what Rob was saying about being the guy in Soul, I literally wrote down like when we play this song live, all of us just feel like on a different planet. Like it's just so like euphoric to play it. And 6/8 blues songs can do that to you for the most part. But it's just with how heavy this one is, because like it's a 6/8 blues song, but it's not like traditional blues. Like it's pretty heavy.
Yeah, very modal.
Yeah, it's I always kind of consider it to be like a little bit of like a power ballad, um, especially like the chorus. Um, and speaking of the chorus, like we wanted Dwight, as much as Dwight was involved on the record, we really wanted to have him fully involved on a song, and this one was just perfect because the chorus needed some balls,
Yeah.
and Dwight provided that.
Dwight is the provider of
Yeah,
balls.
yeah, he is the provider of balls, and so it was really cool. And I forgot to mention before we started it, on here it just says "Coming Home," but on the album it's "Coming Home" featuring White Lighters, which White Lighters mean a whole lot to all four of us, and especially Dwight. Um, they're him and his band are a big inspiration for us, both as just people and as musicians.
Great
Uh,
dude.
yeah, awesome. And we'll have another segment where we talk to Dwight on this podcast. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it tonight, but we'll get that recorded later and add it on here. And then one more thing I had about this, and then we can all share our thoughts, was a funny memory I had about when we went into the studio with this one was, we're going down our track list and Coming Home's the next one on there. And he was like, I think there was like 3 or 4 songs that hadn't been done yet. And Coming Home was on there. And we told him it was a 6/8 blues song. So like he already has that in his head. So then he looks at it and he's like, let's knock out Coming Home real quick. And then
Yeah.
and I just remember me and Mason looking at each other like, yeah, okay. Yeah, let's knock it out real quick. This 6-minute blues guitar, like 500 guitar parts. Like, yeah, let's knock it out real quick. But yeah, any thoughts y'all have on Coming Home? Go ahead. So.
One of my favorite moments of this song was, so it was never like when I was playing the leads on it, like I always heard the kind of eerie dominant / harmonic minor kind of sound for it, but we always played as the last chord in the progression. We played the minor chord,
yeah,
instead of making it dominant and major in the key.
Yeah.
And when we were in there and like I was playing all the minor or the harmonic minor stuff, Dwight was like, wait, it's like, make that last chord major. Yeah. And we stopped, started from the beginning, and oh my god, did it come to life.
Yeah,
Life.
it was under my nose the whole time, and I'm playing the E minor for the last chord, and then the one time he's like, play major, and I'm playing it, and then as soon as I get to the major, I'm like, oh, like this sounds even cooler.
Yeah, that was a cool moment.
It blew my mind. That's the Dwight effect, though.
That's another one of the songs that I feel like just ultimately fell into place. Like after you guys are saying, it's like, okay, this is the track that we're going on.
Which, like, I'm not trying to say that it's mighty, but like for us, this is our masterpiece. And whether people think it's a masterpiece or not, I don't care. To us, it's our masterpiece, and that's why it was funny when Dwight was like, "Yeah, let's knock this out real quick." You don't know, like, but
we'd be in the basement by ourselves, like 11 o'clock at night, about to leave. Can we play Coming Home one more time?
It'd always be Rob too.
Yeah, and he's usually.
Yeah, I want to play it one more time.
It would always be Rob because we would practice like the whole set list and we play Coming Home or whatever, or maybe like we got halfway through the set list, and like before we leave, I'm like, all right, we finished half the set list, everybody's tired or whatever, like let's go home. But then Rob would be like, can we just like play Coming Home like once, and then and then we would always play it. So that's why
it would be like a 12-minute rendition.
Right.
What'd you say, Kate?
It's like a 12-minute 12-minute rendition of
yeah,
it.
It's always like a freaking jam band version of it. But that's just how
it's just building chops. You jam it out to build some chops.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I couldn't be happier with that song and really the rest of the album. It's a pretty surreal feeling. Um, we put a whole lot of effort and time and money into it, and I think it was well worth it.
Right.
So if anybody out there is also a musician and wants to record music, do it with Dwight Hamlin, because you cannot beat his expertise. Um, like as much as this album is ours, it's his. Like he's all over it. And it's not to say that we're incompetent, but he's just like he's not from this planet. So like when somebody like that offers a suggestion, never once did we not listen to him, and most of the times we're like, yeah, you're right.
Right. And
like
here,
even if we had no idea what he was talking about, I'm like, yeah, because I trust him. I'm like, trust him with all of it.
We always took his advice, and like he's really good. He has like a really good mind and a really good way of working with people. Like he's gonna like help you develop the idea instead of just being like, do this. Like, it's like
bring out our sound for it.
Yeah.
How much of like a wizard he is. There's like, I don't know, it's like a bunch of the little things throughout, especially recording Coming Home. Like some of the biggest compliments I've ever received in my life were some of the things that Dwight said that day. It was like so validating for me.
Yeah.
He was like he was recording the part, or I was recording like all the little interlude parts. He's like, all right, this is cool as shit or whatever. And when I got done, I think Harry was the one that told me this. We got done recording the solo, and I left or went outside to like just go outside because I just had tracked that fucking monster of a fucking solo. It kicked my ass, frankly.
Yeah.
Dwight was like, "Oh shit, now I got to keep up with Mason," and that hit home for me. That meant everything. I was like, "Damn, dude, one of my heroes, getting validated from. It's pretty cool."
Yeah, when Mason had left to go outside, basically to get a breather after he did it, and he was like, what he said was, he's like, now I got to top Mason on this next one.
Yeah,
but like saying it in a sense of like, not like unconfident, like, oh, I gotta follow that now. Which is really cool. And I remember even being in the studio too when Mason told Dwight, he was like, "You're literally one of my guitar heroes."
He is, dude. It's a fucking monster. He's so good. He can play literally anything.
I was on the phone with him the other day talking about having him on and stuff, and I'm always asking him every time I'm either on the phone or texting him, be like, "Hey, what's the status on Bill's new record?" Because just like the stuff he has out, like it's good. Don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing on it at all. It's very good, but like the new stuff he's working on is some top tier.
Yeah, he's turning the corners for real.
Yeah, he is, and I hope he can make something out of that one like R&B progression. Which whenever I get to basically interview him later on another segment of this podcast, I'm going to try to get him to play that because it is one of the craziest progressions I've ever heard. But yeah. So closing thoughts. The album, like I said, I'm very proud of it, and I think we all are.
Yeah.
It's when I first started writing music, it was because music was always an escape for me, hard times and things of that nature, and it got to a point where I was so influenced and like obsessed with music that sometimes there wasn't a song that was able to resemble the emotion I was feeling. So then I was like, I had to take it upon myself to try to do it myself. And then that's where all this sparked from. And I couldn't be happier with the result. Um, I don't claim to be a master songwriter or anything like that. I think I'm far from it, but I'd fight somebody any day on Creekland. Um, I just think in a broad sense, what we were trying to accomplish, I think we did.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I think that's the most important thing was that we did what we set out to do, and that was, like you said, in a sense, to break the mold a little bit. That's the whole idea behind the album title, the album artwork. Don't Shout is all to convey this idea of like where we were geographically, we wouldn't get opportunities that some other bands were getting. And it's not that I'm like crap, like all of our friends are in country bands, and I love all those dudes. I have no problem with them at all. But it was more so just the venues and stuff like that not even giving us a chance because we didn't play country music. And and that's where like this idea came from. Um because and it wasn't that like let's write a record that, you know, like this wasn't the idea to start. Like it just happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like this was just us. This was the type of music that we liked, that we wanted to make, and it ended up like this. And we shortly came to realize that, hey, this doesn't really sound like everybody else around us and all of our friends. And and some people got turned off by that, which is fine. um but we just wanted to shout a little lighter, or a little louder at the hand that feeds us. So
Raging Against the Machine, motherfucker.
yeah. Yeah, Rage Against the Machine, but without Tom Morello.
Yeah.
Basically what our record is.
No, wee woo wee woo. Actually, we do got a wee woo wee woo.
Yeah, and where were you?
Yeah, and head trash.
Yeah.
Also, the shout is all of us.
The gang vocal. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was also
awesome. Super cool every time I hear it. Like,
yeah. It always puts a smile on my face when I hear that. That was a fun moment to do that gang vocal. But yeah. Well, does anybody else have any closing remarks about the album?
go listen to it again.
Yeah, Robbie.
Yeah, go listen to it again. I just think it was a lot of fun.
Your sound cut out. Didn't hear it.
Just hope it was a lot of fun to make. Just hope that
I think Rob said, "I hope it's a lot of fun
it's
to
just
listen
fun.
to."
I don't know. I don't really know how to describe the way I feel from it. It's just a lot of fun to make. I
It's a lot of fun.
love,
Yeah. Caden?
Man, it's weird listening to it all in a row like that, like we just did, because it was kind of stretched out over a long time. So it like brought me through like the pandemic and all the crappy stuff that went through that. There's a lot of us poured into this from really uncertain times, and I think it's a cool, almost like screenshot of how we were at the world's like when it kind of flipped upside down.
Well, and this album really was the only sense of normalcy for us. It was
Oh, I mean, yeah,
like being in
it was the only thing.
being in the studio was like a grounding experience. Like just, like, you're all online or whatever, can't go places. And I mean, we even had to cancel dates because Dwight got COVID and stuff like that. And, it's, pandemic's a whole different topic of discussion I won't get into, but the album was definitely something that kept us kind of in a little bit of a routine.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, well, this I hope you guys, people listening, and family and friends, and if you're a stranger, then I would just consider you a fan. I hope you guys enjoy this. Um, it means a lot to us. Uh, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Don't really care. But hopefully, there's something in here that resonates with you, and that's really all we care about. All of us got into music for the same reason. Um, the band started from just a passion and infatuation with music. So in a sense, we kind of make music for those type of people, a little bit. Um, we don't necessarily even try to think about reaching a wide audience when we go into the studio or when we write a song. We just write what feels good to us, and musically makes us, kind of tick a little bit. But yeah. Um, when a person is standing next to you, there's no need to shout unless he's a giant. Hope you guys enjoy the album. If you guys want a shorter way to say the album, we all call it Don't Shout. So you can say that instead of the whole name, or I don't really care what you guys say, whatever sticks. But we all call it Don't Shout. All right, so we had to couldn't have Dwight on last night. He's a little sick, but we got him the next day. So this is Dwight Hamlin. This is the guy who uh, produced, engineered, mixed, and mastered all the new album. And we're just gonna get his thoughts on a couple of things and ask him a few questions. So how you doing, Dwight?
Good. How are y'all?
Good.
Right on.
Doing good.
So first question I had for you was, do you have a favorite song on the record?
Probably. I don't know. They've changed so many times when you're mixing a song. It's like every time I'd finish one, it was like, oh, that's the one. Golden Boy probably. Like still, I don't.
That's
That
cool.
one's always stuck with me.
Yes, we talked about this last night because we were saying, I had Caden tell me the story about the bass line because I wasn't there when y'all did it,
Yeah.
and so I was fascinated by the story. But I wanted, like, you kept saying there was this like Tom Petty feel to like the drivingness of it, but like
Yeah.
I never really understood that. So like, was there like a certain Tom Petty song, or was it just?
It's kind of like the kick pattern on Don't Back Down, how it just keeps moving forward.
Yeah.
And as soon as he simplified his kick pattern,
Yeah.
on that shit, on the straightforward stuff, and then it breaks down, obviously, in the one section. It just kind of keeps it driving, and that's what always reminded me of the Tom Petty thing. But
yeah. And when I originally wrote that, it was originally in like a 6/8,
yeah,
kind of like a waltz type of deal, and it kind of just formed into this thing. We were talking about how much we like, just it feels like the song is just like actually driving the whole time, like it never stops. It's always going, and
right.
yeah, we're really pleased with that one too. So, and another thing we said last night, and let me preface to you, was like we could not be happier with the end result.
Awesome.
So,
Hell yeah. I had a blast, man.
you knocked it out of the park.
Cool record, front to back.
Appreciate it.
Even the Creed parts.
Which
that was a hell of a task there to get that to work right. It worked though.
Yeah, no, the transitions sound good on, like, because I exported it into Apple Music, and it transitions smooth, like
right.
You can even tell that it goes to the next track. So,
and I listened to every single like individual transition too. I tried to get it to where it would work either or.
Yeah.
If you're listening to it in a whole or listen to it, that's always a battle.
Yeah, and like the track you sent us back of it, you had it labeled as intro and outro. On the album, I have them listed as start and stop to like encourage people to like press start literally like on the album. So
cool.
but we'll see. I don't know.
That's awesome.
And I guess on that too, like, was there like a favorite moment in the studio, or like funny story that's something you remember throughout that whole process?
That's a hard one to narrow down.
I mean, aside from
good Yo Pablo's moments, man.
Yeah, aside from all the words we made up, not real words. But
I guess the kind of real words.
Yeah. What was the one thing that he kept on saying that we got stuck in his brain?
Oh, was it the on cap no God?
I mean, I don't know if it was that. There was something else. I can't
that
remember.
That's gold though.
That was funny.
Oh, what was the other one? Dope.
Yeah, that's what it was. Dope.
Instead of dope.
Yeah, dope.
Dope, bro.
Yeah.
Dope, bro.
And was there any song on the album like after we had obviously finished it and it was just up to you at that point mixing it, what was there a song, if there was one, that was the most challenging for you, like mixing or making decisions on, I guess?
Where were you? That one I texted you that too. It's just I couldn't figure out where to put the bass and the kick at. Like once I finally found that balance, it came to life like instant. But
yeah,
that one took me forever to find the right way to go about it. But that's probably one of my favorites off the track now, or off the record.
Yeah, I was saying to Dwight earlier how we all agreed that we thought it was the worst song on the album. He's like, no.
That weird ass guitar part too.
Yeah.
Like, almost like a cluck, like
yeah.
Cool as hell. Weird guitar tone.
There's kind of like I always thought there was kind of a little bit like Jimi Hendrix influence in that.
Was that the one that Zach called me on, like freaking out about the guitar amp?
Yeah, it was just us and Zach. So
I was at a Christmas party or something. That's hilarious.
That was a good moment.
And he was like, damn it, this standby was on. Shit.
Yeah.
I felt bad for him, dude. I missed that fool. Been too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you always like whenever he'd show up at 10 a.m. when we get in the studio and he's got a beatbox.
Yeah. Yeah. We all been through a Mad Dog 2020 stage, you know?
Yeah.
That's like the hip kid, the new Mad Dog 2020. Those are rough, dude. I can't do the beatbox.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I can, but not a fan.
Yeah.
All right. I'll ask one. So, what did you think about us asking you to do like the full feature on Coming Home? And like, can you talk a little bit about that song and like how you had trouble with it or how you enjoyed it? So we laughed about when we brought it up, or we gave you the set list, the track list. You're like, or Harry was telling you what Coming Home was. You're like, yeah, it's like a 6/8 kind of like power ballad kind of thing, power blues thing. And you're like, oh yeah, we'll go ahead and knock that one out. And we knew it wasn't gonna be. You just knock it out, because it was a long process recording that one. Yeah,
it wasn't too bad, honestly. Though it was just figuring out the transitions, how to make it the biggest it could be without feeling redundant.
Mm-hmm.
True.
That was really just having some like little ear candy moments.
Yeah, that song doesn't feel redundant.
No,
even for as long as it
grows, man.
Yeah,
it's like it breathes, it'll get there, and then it drops back down again, and then it slowly just blows the top off of it.
Yeah, and we had mentioned as much as you were involved on everything else on the album, we knew that we wanted to like get you more involved on one of them, and And that song almost became like the automatic choice because of the chorus. And the chorus just needed it just needed a little more oomph,
A little
some
more home.
some balls. As Mason said last night, you're the provider of balls. Um, so we just needed somebody to like belt the chorus. Like I could have attempted to, but like we knew if we had you do it, I mean, yeah, it would sound good.
Yeah. I appreciate you letting me do it. It's fun.
Yeah, you killed it.
Yeah.
It was fun. And I was kind of sick too. Some of those vocals like that though, where you're like on the edge of getting out of being sick.
Mm-hmm.
Those vocal takes are always some of the coolest. It's
Yeah.
has like a grit and a breakup that wouldn't normally have,
Feels pretty
Right.
human too. Like
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
still fuck ups in it,
yeah, yeah.
Am I
And-
allowed to say that?
Yeah.
I don't censor.
Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
not. I'm pretty
Yeah, I dropped it a few times.
Um,
On the mic for 2 hours. I mean,
yeah, it doesn't.
yeah.
It doesn't. And so another thing too was with the production side of things. One of the things we wondered last night after we got done, we talked about it. Because we wanted to give you free reign, like as a producer, and
Mhm.
we always wanted your input and we valued it like at a high level. Was there anything when producing or mixing or whatever where you maybe tried out some new techniques you haven't before just because we were like, yeah, do whatever you want?
I feel like, I mean, there's definitely some synth stuff that we went nuts on for sure.
Mhm.
But I always find something with every band that just because I'm ADHD as hell, I'll find like an aesthetic thing and
Yeah.
stick with that aesthetic for this band.
Mm-hmm.
Just so try to keep myself to where I don't do the same stuff all the time. So it's like the roomier drums on everything. Like I kept that throughout, whether it was a short sounding room or a little bit longer.
Like
You know,
coming home room drums are really
yeah,
cool.
they're lush. Yep.
Yeah,
Super roomy. That was the warehouse.
really.
Yep.
That was one. That was one of the first things I noticed when you sent the final mix. I was like, "Oh, that wasn't there before," but I like
I
it.
got it to where it wasn't too boomy. The first mix I sent, I had a lot of like it was almost too like boomy with the verb.
Yeah.
And I just tucked it in a touch. But yeah, I had the line array going in the warehouse as a reverb on the kit.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, turned out good.
And there's like one rim click in the whole song that has like a long delay on it, but it's just one.
It has no, you can hear it through if I tucked it in and pulled it up on a certain part. It has a echo on it.
Okay, because I only heard it on one, or it was more prominent on one, and,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, that was cool.
But it was in a certain spot, and I pulled it up, just to get that like to where you could hear the echo off of it.
Yeah, it caught me off guard a little bit too. I was like, wait, I had to like go back. I was like, did I hear that? Or...
That first mix, I had it way too loud. Yeah.
It's fine.
It's funny as you find little things like that, like little ear candy stuff. I'll always have the tendency to push it 2 or 3 dB too loud, and then come back the next day and pull it back. But feels good now. Though. Yep.
I think another thing too, when I think about trying new stuff out, or like you said, going crazy on some things, was the day that we were recording "Don't Shout" and you like kind of went down a rabbit hole with the whole reverse guitar.
We landed it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was wondering where the hell that was going for a minute though. I was like, just bear with me. Like, well, let me get an idea of where I'm going. We'll go eat lunch or something. If it isn't working in an hour, and it ended up getting there, but that was entertaining.
Well, and it's funny too how all four of us in the band, like the attachment we have to it. Because I remember when you sent the first final mix, all of us were like, "Yeah, turn that up."
Yeah.
And then
I was
I
trying to
remember,
hide it.
and then whenever I told you that, you're like, yeah. Like,
Yeah. I was stoked. I was like, of course.
so,
Yeah.
um,
That was a journey for sure. That was probably
yeah,
an hour trying to get that to timeline to fit with it was a reverse solo or a couple of passes of solos that you did
yeah,
on the start.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah. It was just like one of the takes on the solo. I just like pulled it out and reversed it, and I had a little bit of an idea where you're going with it, but there really wasn't a moment where I was like, what is he doing? I was
Yeah.
I was more so like how you were, where I was like, I want to see where this goes.
Yeah. It's getting a little better every time he presses play.
Yeah,
It's but it's still
yeah.
I was in the same boat. I was like, oh God, this I understand what I'm trying to do, but I don't know if it's gonna make it. It works though.
No, it's
Yeah.
cool. It makes that song kind of like
There's a different element to it.
it kind of makes it a little dissociative, like from the start. Because I get so wrapped up in that one synthesizer that's on it that to me,
That
I always,
arpeggiated thing.
yeah, I always call it like the frog synth. It's like
Yeah.
like that the whole time.
It's like
And
the 9 Inch Nails synth.
yeah, so like every time there's like anytime there's the gap in the song where you can hear it a little bit more,
Yeah.
where it kind of comes up through the mix, I'm like, yeah, every single time. I can't get enough of it.
That was a balancing act too to get that to set right.
Yeah.
But
And Mason, I was talking to White before you came in here. We can talk about it again. The when we were recording Other Side of Time, I was telling him about sort of, lack of better term, your infatuation with the lyrics. And I asked him about the one line that like when we were recording the vocals, I just remember him like several times being like, oh, like that's a cool line, or like just like
yeah.
anytime I passed by it in the song or whatever, he's like, oh, like he would just like make a noise or something.
Was it right before the chorus?
Yeah, so it was the last pre-chorus, and
Yeah.
the line is "Have no regret, time's all that's left." So you
like
can reiterate what you were saying earlier about it.
That's like that, just a cheerful look at disposition.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. It's like just a cool way to look at what most people would be like. You're almost out of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like time is all you have left. It's just a cool, positive look at that concept.
Yeah, and that line.
All the lyrics in that song.
Yeah, and that line comes from the line before it about what Mason's favorite line is. I think about it when I see my brother's kid.
Yeah.
That all connects. So
it's like, oh,
Mhm.
that's a hit you in the chest, man.
Yeah, for sure.
and yeah, we dove into it, which whenever this comes out, you can go back and watch it. But I kind of tried to psychoanalyze myself on the kind of headspace I was in when I was writing that, because
Right.
sometimes songs happen that you don't really know where they come from, and they just kind of land in your lap, like lyrically sometimes, and
Right.
that's how that one was for me. I was just a little reminiscent, I guess, at the time. But yeah, so that's all the questions we have for you. If there's anything
Yeah.
else you want to say about the album, or share story or anything like that, you can go ahead.
I just had a blast, man.
Yeah.
Turned out great. I was stoked. I've listened to it several times, front to back, since I sent you the finals, and it holds up, man. Feels great.
Yeah, and I do believe you now. When we were in the studio, I was thinking about how I was like, I don't know how cohesive it's gonna sound.
Yeah.
And you were always like assuring me, you're like, oh no, like it sounds like y'all the whole time.
It does, yeah. And we made sure with production too to make it still goes some directions,
Yeah.
But it feels like the same band,
Yeah.
Mm.
And
That's a lot of that too with the production side of it. It's like thinking of an aesthetic, like
Right.
with the drums,
Yeah.
type of thing, and they're like there's certain like core elements that all have a similar sound throughout the whole record.
Yeah.
That'll tie everything in with the weird changes and all that, but it feels everything works really well together.
Yeah. And one of the things I mentioned last night that I thought kind of connected a lot of songs was sort of our metal influence.
Yeah.
There's just like whether it's literally just like one note in a solo that kind of sounds like something else from another song, or something like that, or it could just be the writing style, you know. Uh,
Yeah.
but the way the track list is, and Mason was the one who kind of developed it this way. I mean, the first song is Golden Boy. The second one is Wish I Didn't Know You. The third is Don't Shout. And then the fourth one is Meant to Me. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, the first four tracks, it's all over the damn place, like,
Right.
genre wise. Um, and, you know, when we were looking at it in totality last night, it's like that everything leading up to Namlam is like just all over the place, and then it's like Nom Nom is almost like a palate cleanser, and then
Totally.
you
Yeah.
finish the rest of the album.
Yeah. That's a cool way to look at it. Yeah. It just kind of like all your influences shine, and then it's like,
Pretty straightforward
here's,
song.
here's something different. Yep. And then it's pretty straightforward after that,
Yeah,
except for the blues song at the end of it.
yeah,
But it doesn't feel just like we tuck that orchestra in at the end of it so that it's got that grander type of thing.
yeah. It's the finale.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always knew. You know, we mentioned this last night. We always knew that was going to be the last song.
That was another journey too, figuring out the string section part.
Yeah,
That took me a minute.
yeah. That was. I mean,
That was cool though.
I'm
We all
sure
throwing
you.
parts around.
Yeah,
Do
and
what?
I'm sure you use strings on most of the stuff that you do, even if it's just like the MIDI stuff. No.
Not very often. It's I mean a couple of like the white lighter stuff like that's very rarely, but when it does, you got to build it up right, you know.
Yeah. We always enjoyed using the strings. I always
Yeah.
like the production and the chorus of Golden Boy with
Yeah.
the orchestra and
That
all
worked
that
out great.
sounds so good.
Ran the string section through a cassette recorder.
Oh, really?
Nope.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. And
Why
then
not?
another moment is that the bridge and Where Were You? Um, you know,
Yeah.
it goes down to like this very dramatic thing, and
The intro too.
yeah,
That intro turned out really cool.
but
Mhm.
and
Weird
that
syncopated start to it.
and that bridge and Where Were You? You and Caden like went back and forth on the bass line on that one.
Yeah.
The bass line and the bridge of Where Were You is my favorite bass line on the entire album.
It's dirty.
So cool. It's so
Yeah.
cool.
There's
But
like one part where he hits the third on the one, right? I can't
yeah,
remember. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I can't remember where we went to at
if
the
you
end of
really
that.
try to pick it out, it's you kind of get lost in it because it's just
Yeah,
like everything around it is, like I said, very dramatic, and then that bass line just fits perfect in there.
for
Yeah.
sure.
But yeah, like I said, that's all we got.
Right on, man.
Can't thank you enough for you know what you did for us and the help you gave us.
Thank y'all, man.
We,
I appreciate it.
you know, going into recording Meant to Me, like the first song we did together, you know, we didn't really know what the future was going to be,
Yeah,
and I just know that that first experience in the studio, even when we didn't know each other all very well, like we knew like we want to go back and like
that's awesome.
do some more stuff, because you're the wizard.
The wizard. I appreciate it, man. Thank y'all.
Anyways, thank you guys for listening, um, and thank you guys for listening to the music. It means a lot to us. And you know, hopefully we'll get some shows this summer, and we can see some of you guys, some of y'all's faces again. Well, I am Harrison.
No, I'm Mason.
I'm Caden.
I'm Rob. I figured that was.
And we are Creekland. Thank you guys for listening, and hopefully see you soon. Peace.
Peace.